donation is a gift of life. Due to lack of awareness, there are mass and fear in the people mind about the organ donation. The aim of this awareness is to motivate the normal human being to the place to donate the organ after the death and to spread the awareness about the importance of the organ donations. Organ donation is a donating a donor's organ like liver, kidney, intestine, lungs, bone marrow, eyes, and skin after the donor dies. For the purpose of transplanting it into the another person who is in need. According to survey in India, every year about the 5 lakhs people die because of non-availability of their organ. 2 lakhs people die due to the liver disease and 50,000 people die because of heart disease. Moreover, the 1,50,000 people await the kidney transplant, but only the 5,000 get come out. Organ donor can play the big role in saving the other life. The organ of the donor can be transplanted to the patient who in need of the fact about the organ donations. Anybody can be the organ donor irrespective of their age, caste, religion, community, etc. etc. There is no defined the age for donating the organ. The decision to donate the organ is based on the strict medical criteria, not on the age. The tissues such as the cornea, heart, wall, skin, and the bone can be donated in case of the natural death. But the vital organs such as the heart, liver, kidney, intestine, lung, and pancreas can be donated only in the case of brain death. Anyone younger than the 18-year age need to have the agreement of the parent as well as the guardian to the donor. Brethren, by keeping the aim of the awareness to motivate the normal human being to place the donate the organ after the death, our original Grand Master, Right Worshipful Dr. Agnes Thakur, had decided to schedule this virtual meeting to spread the awareness of organ donation through our lodge and our brethren individually. For this purpose, we are invited the expert doctor to share their opinion. The panel of doctors who will give the lecture on the different topics will consist of Worshipful Brother Dr. Quresh Maskati from Mumbai. He is the ophthalmologist. The second speaker will be the Worshipful Brother Dr. Surendra Patil, plastic surgeon. He is from Nagpur. And Worshipful Brother Dr. Satyajit Dixit is from Ahmedabad. He is the neurosurgeon. And third one, the Dr. Manoj Kumbar, a nephrologist, transplant physician. Now we are reaching in the proper time to listen from the Dr. Quresh Maskati. Ophthalmologist, he is practicing in Mumbai. He is the head of the so many organizations, social organizations, and he is the motivation speaker of the eye organ donations. Now I am requesting Dr. Quresh Maskati kindly come forward and share your experience and kindly present your topic today in the meeting.
Can you allow screen share, please?
Yes, share definitely. Another Bhairaj?
Done.
Done.
Thank you. So, in this brief amount of time that I have been given, let me share with you some of the myths and facts about eye donation and eye banking. I am an advisor to an eye bank in Mumbai, one of the largest eye banks in the country. and I'm a trustee and advisor there. Been there since about 25 years now. Let me, first of all, is there a need for eye donation? So yes, worldwide millions of patients are awaiting corneal transplant surgery. Many of them are children and young adults. Unlike cataract, which is in the elderly, however, the total number of eyeballs collected per year from a large country like India, this is I'm talking about pre-COVID. During COVID, it had dropped, is only about 50,000. So only 25,000 donors, 50,000 eyeballs collected. This is peanuts considering that in Mumbai alone, almost 100,000 people die every year. So 1 lakh people are dying every year in Mumbai, but from whole of India, we're getting only 50,000. So people are either burning or cremating their eyeballs. Is the whole eyeball used for donation? No, only the thin transparent layer in front of the eye. Now I can't show you my Rolex watch, and I'm not trying to show off the Rolex, but the glass in front of my Rolex watch is transparent. That is called the cornea. So similarly, in front of our eye, the front layer is transparent, and that is the cornea. That is only used for transplant to replace the diseased or opaque cornea. So as you can see, the lower one, when the front portion is white or opaque, that's called an opaque cornea, that can be replaced with a corneal graft. So though the whole eyeball is removed many a time from the donor, only the front portion, like the glass in front of my Rolex, is used to restore sight. So this is a clear graph that you can see on the side. So does corneal transplant guarantee sight to all blind people? I wish it was so, but no. Again, transplants can only help when the loss of sight is due to the corneal defects and the rest of the eyeball mechanism is intact. So if you can see the first picture of that young girl, of that young person, the cornea in the left eye is white. So you can see the whole cornea is white. So it can benefit by a transplant. In the middle picture, the central cornea is white. You can see the rest of the eye inside. So this will benefit by a transplant. But in the third picture, this is a picture of the back of the eye showing the nerve of the eye and some blood vessels in red. So that nerve should be pink in color. It's yellow. So it's the nerve is dead. So if the nerve of the eye is dead or some retina problem is there, then corneal transplant will not help. What about rejection? Does the human body reject the transplanted cornea? How successful are corneal transplants? The human cornea does not have any blood supply. So our body doesn't recognize that the foreigner has come. Hence the risk of rejection is very low. It's as safe as a hair transplant. And rejection can be suppressed by timely medication, just eye drops. Unlike in kidney or liver transplant, where lifetime you have to take expensive immunosuppressive tablets, here the chances of success are very high. So you can see the picture down 2 years after surgery, very clear. And a patient whom I have operated 20 years after the surgery, you can't even make out that there was a corneal transplant done. So these are very successful. So what is new in corneal transplants? Now you may have read somewhere in the papers that previously we used to transplant the whole cornea, the whole thickness of the cornea. But now if only the front layer of the cornea is damaged, we transplant only that, and the back layer can be transplanted to somebody else. So one donated cornea can be used to restore sight to 2 blind patients. So one donor with 2 eyes can give sight to 4 patients now. What about corneas which for any reason are unsuitable for transplant? Even these are very valuable because we train our students how to do stitching, how to stitch the corneas. We use it for research and training programs. So all corneas are very valuable. Well, how will the donation be used? Somebody in your building has died and they have donated the eyes. What happens next? After the eyes are removed by the team from the eye bank, they are evaluated, processed and screened by an eye bank. So there is an eye bank to which it goes. You can see this is the inside of the eye bank, which has got a lot of machinery there. Then it is processed. The cornea is excised from the whole eyeball and it is stored in a special medium called MK medium, in which it can stay for a week. And then when it is required to be sent, it's stored at a very low temperature. And then when it is required to be sent to the eye surgeon, it's transported in what we call an igloo or an ice box with dry ice packed around. So how quickly should the eyes be removed after that? If somebody in your building dies today, should you call me up tomorrow in the eye bank? No, 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 no. As soon as possible, you can remove eyes up to 6 hours after death. However, in places where the climate is hot, such as in most parts of India, shorter duration, preferably 2 to 4 hours after death, is advisable. So the relatives should make up their mind and call the eye bank within 2 to 4 hours. Is it necessary to transport the donor to the hospital? No. The eye banks have personnel who will come to the donor's home. We come by ambulance or by taxi or by whatever, or the place of death, and remove the eyes. So whether it is a jhopadi like this in the middle or a palatial mansion, you don't have to take the patient anywhere. We will come there and remove the eyeballs. So who can donate eyes after death? Can all Freemasons donate? Yes, of course. Any age is no bar. Infant of 1 year, old woman of 100 years. See, both these you don't allow in Freemasonry. But in eye donation, we allow infants of 1 year and old woman of 100 years to donate. Any spectacle power, somebody having a high minus spectacles or plus spectacles, it doesn't matter. What about operated patients? Patient who's undergone a cataract surgery or a glaucoma or retinal detachment surgery? No problem. As long as their corneas are clear, they can donate the eye. What about medical diseases? High blood pressure, diabetes, the beer belly, heart problems, a railway accident, cause of death, vehicular accident, stroke, suicide, heart attacks, cancer. What about cancer? Of course, all of them can donate their eyes. So then if so many people can donate, there must be some group which cannot donate eyes. So those with viral diseases like rabies or septicemia, where the whole body is infected, patients with HIV and AIDS and certain blood-borne cancers, the WHO does not allow us to do this. Most important cause of rejection of is relatives who refuse donation. You can see the picture there of the relatives fighting with each other. So if they are going to be fighting with each other, then of course we cannot collect the eyeballs because we require the consent of 2 people. What about religions? Does any religion forbid eye donation? You know, so many myths surrounding religion. Luckily, it is not forbidden in any holy books because it was not practiced when all the holy books were written. The last holy book was written about 700 years ago, I think the Guru Granth Sahib. And before that, all the other holy books are written much earlier. The eyeballs have been used for corneal transplant only since the last 150 years. So there is nowhere in any holy books expressly forbidding. Certain religious leaders such as Buddhist monks in Sri Lanka and parts of Thailand, they actively propagate eye donation. And you'll be surprised to know that some Muslim countries like in Egypt, they have even issued a fatwa. Fatwa is a royal edict from the Muslim Maulvi in asking people to donate eyes. So if it is banned in the Quran, why would they do this? So no religion forbids it, only badly interpreted religion by certain religious people cause this to have a bad name. What about the procedure is compulsory? See, look here, my grandfather is dead, but I don't want to fill too many forms and wait for 2-3 hours. I want to get on with the cremation. No, don't worry, it's easy. Almost no paperwork is required. So what are the steps for eye donation? You just need to keep a cause of death certificate ready. Why? Because medico-legally, we don't want to get in trouble to remove the eye from somebody who's alive. So your family physician must certify that the person is dead. You can even send the WhatsApp of that certificate to the eye bank team, so they will look at it and see that there is no rabies or HIV as the cause, and they will certify. So you don't need the certificate of death from the municipal corporation, which comes after 15 days. Just the eye bank, your family physician certifying is all right. You don't need photocopies. At 2 o'clock in the night, your grandfather dies. You don't have to go around finding a Xerox machine. It's not required at all. In these days of WhatsApp and smartphones, you can just send a copy across. So what do you do while you're waiting for the eye bank team? Just close the eyes of the patient, as you can see in the picture. Switch off the fan if it's on. If there is an AC, leave the AC on. Don't have to purchase an AC for the occasion. Keep wet gauze or cotton if you have it on the closed eyelids, if possible, to keep it moist. If you don't have it, forget it. You don't have to go to a chemist shop to purchase cotton. If you have antibiotic drops, you can put in the eyes. Otherwise, forget it. Just call the eye bank or eye collection center in Mumbai. It is very simple. 1919 is the phone number. Give detailed address with immovable landmarks. Why I say immovable? Because somebody called our eye bank and said, कि वो भाजी गली जो है उसके अंदर जो भिंडी वाली लेडी बैठती है, भिंडी बेचने वाली, उसके बिल्कुल सामने हमारा झोपड़ी है. Unfortunately, that भिंडी वाली didn't come to work that day, so we couldn't find the झोपड़ी. So the landmark should be Shivaji statue or something which is not likely to be taken away. What do you do when the eye bank team arrives? Just show them the cause of death certificate. If you have not WhatsApped it earlier, get any 2 relatives to sign the form with the eye bank team will bring. Just 2 signatures are required. It doesn't have to be immediate relatives. If the two sons of the patient are living in America or Australia, you don't have to wait for them to come. The third cousin from the mother's side can sign, and the fourth cousin from the father's side can sign. It doesn't matter. No other paperwork is required. Clear the room of all unnecessary people, because while our technicians are removing the eyeballs, people have been known to faint at the sight of this. So we don't want our technicians to get distracted and look after fainting people. How long does it take? In Mumbai, the eye bank team will usually reach within an hour. Procedure will be completed in about 30 minutes or so. After enucleation, the technical name for the procedure is enucleation. We remove the eye. Eyes are gently closed. The eyelids are closed. Usually no one can tell that the eyeballs have been removed. This is a lady who had makeup on. She died. You can make out that the makeup is also intact. You can't tell that eyeballs have been removed. There's no eyeballs underneath. A few ml of blood is also collected from the vein or from the heart for necessary testing for HIV and other things. What about money? Is there any money involved? Please understand that eye donation is free. Neither the eye bank team will pay the donor's family, nor the donor's family has to pay the eye bank team. So everything is free of charge. The eye bank will charge the recipient, the person who's going to receive the cornea, a processing fee. Because the eye bank has a lot of expenses. We have technicians who are paid, eye bank managers who are paid, the cost of electricity, keeping refrigerators and other things. So there is a cost involved. But in 70% of the cases in Mumbai, this processing fee is waived because the recipient is poor. So 70% of the corneas which we get in Mumbai are given to hospitals like JJ, Sion, KM, Nair, where the patients are operated free of charge. And this free of charge is subsidized by us in private, like I am in private practice. So my patient whom I will charge for surgery will pay an amount to the eye bank as processing fee, which will cross-subsidize the poor. So with this brief introduction, I thank you so much for your attention, and I will be delighted to answer the questions maybe now or maybe at the end of all the talks. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Brother.
Hi, Quresh.
Dr. Dr. Quresh Maskati.
Brother,
Very good.
brother,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I suggest that the topic is over. Let anybody ask question now because it is fresh in the mind.
Okay, nice. This is also good idea. Anybody have any question, doubt? That Dr. Maskati is available and he'll able to answer.
Yeah.
Any questions?
I want to. Yes, Dr. Quresh.
Yes.
One question. You said it should be donated within 2 to 4 hours.
You should call up the eye bank between 2 to 4 hours. Yes.
Yeah. So now what happens is you need a death certificate or medical report from the distinct municipality.
No, not municipality. You just need your family physician to certify that the person is dead. So we just want to know that, because tomorrow we don't want somebody to accuse us that we came and removed from a live person, which is not allowed in law. So just the family physician comes there and certifies that. That's how you know that the person is dead. So once that family physician certified that, he has a form which he has with him, the death form. So cause of death he fills up. You simply take a photo of that and send it to the eye bank, and the eye bank team will come. So that can occur within 2 to 4 hours. Up to 6 hours is also okay during winter months like this.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody, any questions? I think, Badan?
May I ask one question?
Yeah, definitely.
Yes, Shyam.
Brother Shyam Kishore, let's come forward.
Sir, I have already donated my body to all AIIMS Bhopal.
Yes.
I stay at Bhopal, so I have already donated my body to AIIMS Bhopal.
Yes.
In that case, can it be linked up that in case of death, eyeball will be removed by, how do I coordinate?
No, I'll explain to you, Shyam. What happens is when you donate your body, it goes to the medical college and it is used by students for dissection purposes. So it is donated to the medical college. And what you need to do is tell your relatives that you want to donate the eyes as well. So first call the eye bank team in Bhopal, let them come and remove the eyes and then send it to the medical college. Don't link the two because it takes a lot of time, more than 6 hours for the body to be processed for the body donation. So before that, get the eyes removed from in your home itself or wherever you pass away.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shyam.
Anybody, any questions? Brother Vinayak Chodkar ji? And आपका mic है करो. Unmute. Your mic is.
Vinayak, we can't hear you. You're on mute.
Can
Yes,
you hear my voice now?
we can hear you now.
Yeah, I just wanted a humble request to you, Dr. Quresh, to kindly send us a soft copy of this, your lecture, so that we can distribute this to our Lord brethren for their knowledge also.
Sure,
Those who have not attended, please.
I'll send it across to Brother Sethi.
Very good, doctor.
Yeah.
But, now the one question is coming forward from Prathamesh Deshpande. Brother Prathamesh Deshpande, please
Yes,
unmute.
Prathamesh, you're on mute. Yes.
Prathamesh, any question from you?
No,
Not at all. You are the a spectacle seller, and I think that I hope some question from your side.
no.
No, before the virtual meeting, you put me the so many questions, and I request you to put your question before the doctor. That is better. Okay, anyhow.
Not at all.
Not at all. You already got your clear in your mind.
Most of the ideas are already clear.
Very good. Thank you, Prathamesh. This is good. आपको वालों बहुत एनर्जी है, जल्दी से ग्रास्प करते हैं. So, any question from Viren? No. I think that there is no question. Rob, you are having the question. You raise your hand. Brother Rob, unmute yourself. First, unmute yourself. No question from your side. Okay. Shall we go the further?
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, Arjun sir. We'll proceed further. Now the next speaker with us, who is the Dr. Surendra Patil, he is a skin specialist. He is from Nagpur. He is a senior professor in the Nagpur Government Medical College. And he is practicing in the skin donation also. He has given so many lectures on the skin donation. Now, I am requesting Dr. Surendra Patil, please come forward and submit your presentation. Dr. Surendra Patil.
Thank you, sir. I'll share my screen.
Okay.
Mayuresh,
Brother Mayuresh.
Permission granted already.
Okay, nice. Thank you.
okay. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yeah, your screen. You're sharing, no?
Just a sec. Yeah. Mayuresh, can you help me?
Can I share your screen? Shall I share your presentation?
Why is my screen not getting shared?
Yes, you are sharing the screen, but we can't
Yeah.
see your presentation.
Okay, just a sec. Oh, now can you see it?
Yes, fine.
Yeah.
Please
Okay.
proceed.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. Dr. Muscati has very well covered eye donation and given us has made lot of things clear as far as donation goes. So he has made my life little easy. So I'll be today talking on skin donation. Now, death can either be natural death. So here you can see if there is a natural death is when the heart stops functioning. So in these cases, you can donate eyes, skin, heart walls, tendons, and medullary ossicles. Now, whenever there is an accident or the patient is in ICU on ventilators, and when the doctors declare him brain dead, it is that time when he can donate a lot of other organs like the heart, lungs, liver, pancreas, and so on and so forth. In addition to this, now we also have hand transplants. So even both hands, upper limbs can be donated. And recently, 1 month back at AIMS Delhi, they did a lower limb transplant also. So now, in addition to all these donations, you can do hands, you can do both lower limbs and face transplant. So these are some addition things which you can do in donation. Now, since I'm talking on skin donation, I'd like to bring some facts about burns. India records around 70 lakh burn cases annually, of which 1.4 lakh people die every year. Of this, 50% could have been saved if there were enough skin donors. Now, around 70% of all these burns injuries are from the most productive age group, that is 15 to 35 years. Around 4 out of 5 burns cases are women and children. And as many as 80% of these cases are a result of accidents which occurred in the kitchen. Now, coming to skin, skin is the largest organ in the body and it is the first line of defense. It is the first line of defense and it prevents infection from entering the body. So whenever the skin is severely damaged, as in burns or in accidents, this defense mechanism breaks down. And if it is untreated, it causes bacterial infection, loss of proteins and electrolytes, and dehydration. And because of all this, ultimately, the patient dies. Types of burns, in short, I will say, you can have either superficial burns, which is first degree burns, partial thickness, second degree burns, and third degree burns. These are various types of burns, as you can see here in the figure. So these are superficial burns, again here in the diagram. Superficial burns normally heal on their own, whereas these second and third degree burns require some procedure. So what is skin banking? So skin banking is basically a facility where the skin is collected from an eligible deceased donor and processed. This skin is then stored at 4 to 8 degrees Celsius, and this can be stored up to 5 years. So if a person donates a skin after his death, it can be used right up to 5 years. Now, where is this banked cadaveric skin which is donated used? Mostly it is used in burns, but any patient or any wound, it can be used like diabetic ulcers, orthopedic and road traffic accidents where there are huge raw areas, the whole skin is sloughed out because of the accident, then bed sores in chronically debilitated patients, or for that matter, any infected wound. What are the benefits of this cadaveric skin? It is a very effective dressing material. It acts as a barrier to infection. Also, more importantly, it reduces the pain which these patients of burns have, improves immunity, and because of all this, the survival rate of the patients increases, and also lessens the hospital stay. All these leads to a cost of treatment coming drastically down, which is very high otherwise in burns patients. Now, certain facts about the cadaveric skin. Yeah. Now, whenever your skin is donated, what are the things which one should remember is that skin should be recovered within 6 hours of death, as Dr. Muscati had already said for cornea. We don't remove whole of the skin, but only the superficial layers of the skin, which I'll be showing in some photographs. This procedure takes around 45 minutes. There is no bleeding and no matching, as in other donations. Can I continue?
Hello, this is number.
Yeah. Hello. Can I continue?
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah. And in the other donations like kidney and liver, there are a lot of HLA matching and other procedures, but here nothing is required. Any patient's skin can be used for any other patient, and there is no disfigurement. So basically, just to give you an idea of how the skin bank functions, whenever we receive a call for skin donation, after confirmation of the call, the harvesting kit is checked first. Then the skin harvesting team, which consists of 1 doctor, 2 nurses, and 1 attendant, make all the preparation. Then we have either a skin donation ambulance or we take our own personal cars. Then we go to the site. This is how we organize once we get a call. Now, what are the conditions when skin cannot be donated? What are the contraindications? If the dead person had sexually transmitted disease, had some skin infection where obviously it cannot be taken, or as Dr. Muschetti had said, for cornea, sepsis or bacteremia is there, you cannot use it. Any kind of malignancy or respiratory tract infection, active jaundice, or the standard things of if patients are having HIV or hepatitis, these are not, these cannot be donors, and these are the contraindications. Now, what is basically skin banking? First is that we retrieve the skin or harvest the skin, then it is processed, then it is stored, and then it is distributed. So I will be showing this diagrams again in the next slides. So here it is the harvesting of the skin, then it is taken to the skin bank where it is processed, then it is stored at 4 to 8 degrees centigrade, and then as and when required, it is distributed to the necessary skins. What are the procedures? There are no complicated procedures. Only we take a simple consent from any of the relatives or friends of the deceased person, and the blood sample is collected to rule out routine investigations like HIV and HBsAg, that is hepatitis. Now the procedure. Now this is one of the things which most of the patients and relatives are worried. So if a separate room or a privacy is given while doing this procedure to our doctors and technicians, the body is first cleaned with betadine scrub. Then this is a dermatome with which we harvest the skin. So as you can see here, only superficial part of the skin is taken, not whole of the skin. After the skin has been taken, we dress the patient back, and then the skin is taken back to the blood bank, to the skin bank, where all the procedures are done. And there are various phases. So in the phase 3 is the final phase, after which all the treatment for the skin has been done. It has been tested, it has been meshed, and it is then stored in glycerol at 85 degrees in 85% glycerol at 4 to 8 degrees centigrade. Just to show you a case, this is a patient of birth. This was the patient at admission. This was after the cadaveric skin as well as some of the patient's own skin has been applied, and this is post-operative after 15 days. Same patient on the upper limb. Here you can see the upper limb where it was after grafted. Another patient, again, burns on the backs. Thus, here you can see on the grafted skin, and this is the post-operative picture after 15 days. This is the infrastructure. This is just to show you how what all is there in the skin bank. I won't be talking much on it. Now, basically, the skin bank and skin collection centers all over India, there are around 13 to 14 skin banks. We only have 13 to 14 skin banks only. These are the links for the skin donation awareness program, which you can access and see. In concluding, I would like to say, convincing people to donate skin is quite challenging. Hence, obtaining enough skin is a difficult task in India. Creating awareness among lay public and medical personnel should be the primary focus in India. So, more and more people, if they donate skin, it will definitely help our patients, especially burns patients. And as Masons, we already do charity. So, like in LIC, they say, Zindagi ke baad bhi. So, I can say that Zindagi ke baad bhi aap kuch donation karke ja sakte ho. With that note, I would like to end my talk. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Patil sir.
Any questions?
Dr. Patil sir. Dr. Patil.
Yes, sir.
That there's a one simple question. How many that skin bank in the Nagpur area?
In Nagpur, we have only one skin bank at Government Medical College, and I am the director of that skin bank.
Okay. Achha, that I know that one Rotary organization was conducted in the RN City Hospital.
Yeah,
Skin bank.
so there was a skin bank there which was then transferred to GMC. They could not run it properly. They were having some issues.
Achha,
So then it was from same skin bank. So it's the Rotary skin bank only which is there in GMC now.
Achha, that GMC is starting.
Yeah, we have already started. We have already installed. Yeah, we have already installed.
Achha,
Yeah, but because of COVID, it was little bit on the everything had stopped down. Now post COVID again we'll start.
Very good question. Very good, sir. And brother, Dr. Sunil Patil, and your lecture is very beautiful. Beautiful in sense of that you have given the complete idea who can donate and how the scheme can be transferred. Everything you have nicely narrated. I am requesting to all the audience to join today's virtual meeting to put some question if you have doubt and all. Any question from the any other brethren? Dr. Surendra Patil is available. He will help you to that clear in your mind.
Dr. Patil,
Yes, sir.
as far as eyes are concerned, the donation has to be done within 5 to 6 hours. As far as skin is
Yeah.
concerned, same thing is there. If the patient is
Yeah, same thing is
dead.
same
Okay.
thing. Yeah, 6 hours only. We prefer to be done in 6 hours only.
Very good question. Good answer. Any question? Brother Sapi, you are having this, some doubt? Get it clear and so that we can canvas the proper organ donations. Thank you, Dr. Surendra Patil. I think that there is no any questions. And
Yeah.
I'm very much thankful to you because you are in our organization. There is no any difference between us and you. That in the next seminar, if we require, we'll take your assistant and we'll try to develop the skin bank, the Nagpur, with the help of the machinery. Okay, doctor?
Yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. Okay, now I'm requesting Dr. Satyajit Dikshit. Dr. Satyajit Dikshit, you are there?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, you are there. You are not also. Dr. Satyajit Dikshit, he is the neurosurgeon from Ahmedabad. And he is a well-known person in the Ahmedabad city. We are not knowing about that, but through the machinery, I am knowing he is a very good, excellent doctor, and he has submitted presentation in so many organizations and so many events. And today he's a voluntary, he's the first doctor, he is voluntary, and all the doctors in the first request, they are agree to submit the presentation. Among that, Dr. Satyajit Dikshit is also one of them. And Dr. Before starting the lecture, Dr. Satyajit, that Manoj Kuber is coming today on the lecture because he's
Probably no, sir, because he's held up in some social function.
Yeah. I know that he's held up with the marriage ritual in the some
Yes.
close relative, and he's not lifting the phone. Also, he was trying to get away from this this one after finishing early finishing, but still he's not reported. So we'll think that way he may not become. But anyhow, sir, Dr. Satyajit Dikshit is available with us, and I request him, Dr. Satyajit. He's a neurosurgeon, and
Yes.
I'm requesting you kindly submit your presentation.
Can you please play the slides for me, sir?
Brother Mayuresh?
Can anyone do that?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
We are organizing.
How do I change? I'm sorry.
He will change. You just said that we'll change it, no problem. But
Sure.
we say the next slide.
Okay, sir. Okay. Good evening, brothers. Basically, I'm Dr. Satyajit Dikshit, as sir has already informed. I'm a consultant neurosurgeon at Ahmedabad. I'm in private practice. As such, organ donation, the neurosurgeon's role in organ donation is more for brain dead declaration rather than anything actively about organ donation. But being a part of this Freemasonry, I just thought whatever I can try to help out, I'll just do it. So I'll just talk a few minutes on organ donation and what do we need to know about it. Some basics. Next, please. Okay. What is organ donation? As all of us have been know, and as Dr. Surendra and Dr. Vinayak have been informed, it is basically retrieving. Retrieving is removing the organ from the donor, who can be either alive or diseased. That is live donation or dead disease donation, which is called a cadaver, and then transplanting it into a recipient. Now the donor is who donates the organs, as I told you, can be either live or diseased, that is death or a cadaver. Recipient generally is always a patient who is suffering from a failure of that particular organ, which he is going to receive or which he needs to receive. Retrieval is again the process of recovering the organs from either the live or the dead donor. And it is said, as has been rightly said, one person can save up to almost 9 lives with different parts of the organs and the tissues that can be donated from the person. And organ donation is very poorly understood in India because there are plenty of myths and poor education, and it's more like unnecessary fear. कि मेरा क्या होगा, मेरे relative का क्या होगा if I donate the thing. That's a myth and it's a pure unawareness. Next, please. Okay, the organs, as has been already informed, it is the organs that can be transplanted, that can be donated or transplanted are kidneys, liver, heart, lungs, pancreas, and intestines primarily. And the other tissues are commonly corneas, bone, veins, and heart walls. I tell you frankly, this is the first time I saw even skin as an organ can be considered for transplant. That's a great thing that I realized. Thanks a lot, sir. Next. Okay. As I told you, the types of donation, living or deceased. Living donation is where the donor is a relative who is generally the next of the relative. If the donor, one thing that we should remember, if the donor is not a relative, then we have to take a special permission for that. And if the donation is from a cadaver or a dead body, then the patient has to be then brain dead. That is where, as a neurosurgeon, I come in, which is more commonest in India. The other type of death can be cardiac death, wherein because the heart stops, the whole body stops. So generally in such patients, taking organs is not easy or it's difficult. So awareness is required to increase this awareness, wherein the brainstem death level pe the patient comes to us or we receive the patient. And next slide, I will inform you, brainstem death occurs only in hospitals. So when the patient is not in a good condition, and in case if you want to donate, if somebody has to donate, then the patient has to come to the hospital. Next, please. Yes, this is the process of donation. In brief, I would like to talk. When it is a living donor, it's not a big thing. It's like a normal routine surgery, wherein all the compatible tests are done. Then the surgery is done to retrieve the organ, which is stored and then transplanted into the recipient. Here, the donor needs to stay for medical care for a few days. That's fine. Now, what about the organ, diseased organ? That is cadaver donation. First and foremost, the donor is brain dead. Brain dead is what? Brain dead is basically when the brain stem dies. Brain stem stops functioning when the rest of the body is functioning. The commonest causes in India where we get brain dead patients are from trauma centers following head injuries, road traffic accidents, and brain hemorrhages. Basically, it is the brain. It's our patients, the neurosurgeon or the neurophysician's patient who are the maximum donors, who can give the maximum amount of dead body. And cadavers, I should not be saying sorry. And it is generally when they are declared brain dead, that is the time when the donation starts, when the talk for donation starts. First and foremost, relatives' consent is important after the brain dead declaration is done. And then the suitable recipients are identified from a waiting list, which I will talk about in brief later. And then they are informed कि भाई आपके लिए एक donor आया हुआ है, आप आ जाओ. They are informed. And once they come, then the retrieval, once it is the organs are retrieved, the body is then handed over to the family. Next. Certain laws are definitely, because there should be a law for whatever we do. So there is a law which came up in 1994 called the Transplantation of Human Organs and Tissues Act of 1994, which regulates the retrieval, storage, and transplantation of human organs only for therapeutic purpose. And it's absolute nowadays, it's very strict. The body has become very strict, and it is to prevent commercial dealings in human organs, which has been happening at many places. In fact, I don't know, most of you might be knowing Sri Lanka and parts of East are very common. People go from here and get their donation done on payment seats, which is not right. And then prevention of, as I said, commercial dealings. Main provisions are brain dead criteria. Transplant only from live or deceased donors can be done, and regulatory and advisory boards to monitor are required. Next, please. And brain death and organ donation. Brain death is the situation where it is irreversible because the patient cannot come back. The patient is already dead, where the brainstem stops functioning and the rest of the organs, as I said, are on support system. This can be, as I said, declared only in hospital admission. So if you want to donate somebody, then the patient in the terminal stage has to come to the hospital. It's only then that the brain dead situation can be maintained. Hence, at home, it becomes a cardiac death wherein the heart stops and the whole blood to all the organs stop and the blood organs become non-usable. So cardiac death is more common in India routinely. This is why I said awareness is important for organ donation. Next. Brain dead declaration, it's not a major issue. It's a panel of 4 doctors, of which 2 are to be approved by the doctor, and it has to be tested in a gap of 6 hours. The panel consists of the regular registered medical practitioner of the hospital itself, and then there is a doctor who is nominated by the authority, and then comes in a neurologist or a neurosurgeon, and then a registered RMP who has been treating the patient. That is the patient's own doctor. And if there is a neurosurgeon or neurophysician is not available everywhere, so in case if it's not available, then the authority can appoint either a surgeon or a physician or an anesthetist for that. And then first important thing that is to be declared during declaration is the doctor should not have any personal interest, and the time of death will be the second test. After the second test, not the first one. And then there are specific forms to be completed and filled during declaration consent. You can't just take it on a simple paper and say, hey, by this is this, that it's dead and everything. It has to be done on proper forms and paper, which is again counter checked and signatured by the medical director of the particular hospital. Next, please. After brain dead, what happens? Now the patient has come to me, and then now the patient is brain dead. What do I do? The first thing is I inform the relatives, and after the relatives are informed, the brain dead and just after the brain death and before the cardiac death occurs, the transplant has to be done, because once, as I said, cardiac death happens, then it's difficult to salvage the organs. So there is a coordinator in every hospital who is called upon to counsel the relatives. The relatives are informed and counseled, ki bhai aisa aisa hai, this is what it is. If you're ready to donate, you should do it. Then the consent from the family is absolutely essential. But there is one rule ruling which says even in the last minute, the relatives can disagree admission. And if there is a donor card, generally the patients might previously they would have said the patients could have given a donor card wherein they signed ki after my death, the body should be, just a second, I'm really sorry. Hello, meeting hello.
Please move down.
હું એક મીટિંગમાં છું, પછી કોલ કરું. Sorry. If the donor card has been filled by the donor key after my death, the organs has to be donated. The procedure becomes easy, but even in that, the relatives have to give a consent, even if the patient has signed a donor card. If all is yes, then the retrieval of the organs can be taken over. If it is an MLC case, because it's an accident case, brain dead happens, then the police has to be informed and an NOC taken from the police. Next, please. Okay, early retrieval, early transplant is a better result. Organs with approximate storage time, as has been informed, for heart and lungs 4 to 6 hours, liver 6 hours, kidney up to 30 hours can stay, intestine, pancreas. And then the donor family receives nothing financially, as has been said by Dr. Quresh. Donor receives no money and the recipient is not charged for the organ. Whatever the cost comes in is only for the hospital consumables or the hospital management. After consent, all the costs of the donor is to be borne by the hospital. Next. There is something called the state nodal agency. This is how the proper track, the way in which the whole transplant should go. There is something called a state nodal agency, which have a waiting list of all the patients, and it is connected to all the hospitals around who undertake transplant. So once you get a donor, then the state nodal agency is informed, and then they inform the ROTO, that is the Regional Organ and Tissue Transplant Organization, which is again linked to the NOTO, which is the national level, which has the final waiting list registry. So whatever registry is available, even with the state nodal agency, is available with the NOTO also. So once the donor comes in, the state nodal agency is informed, and then the whole process of donation starts in. One thing that is taken, because we have government and non-government hospitals where donation takes place, If we have a paired organ, that is the kidney, then one has to go to the hospital where it is harvested and the other can go to a common pool, that is the waiting list. Same way with other organs. If it is in other organs, the own hospital has, now supposing my hospital gets a donor, then I have the first, my hospital has the first chance. In case if they don't have, then it goes to the common pool. And if the government hospital has a donor, then the recipient has to be preferably from the government hospital. Same thing with private. The first donor in private hospital, first preference goes to the donor. So these are certain rules and regulations which needs to be absolutely followed. Next. Next, please. Okay. So now today the scenario, what it is, the scenario why we are talking again and again about organ donation karo is because of the unawareness and the prejudice in the society. This is the reason of the poor donation. As has been informed, the last minute, as has been informed, awareness in the society is very poor. We need to improve the chances because of which the positive consent can come in. Approximately 1.5 lakhs of brain dead patients annually by road traffic accident we get. But uske samne the donation rate is only less than 1 per million, which is very, very meager. 2017 statistics show out of the cadaver donors, only 905 were cadaver donors, which is really bad. Now the demand is so high for the organs that we need to create an awareness to increase the organ donation, especially among cadavers. Next, please. Thank you. And all these details are available in organindia.org, which is an excellent site from where we can get all details about transplant lists and hospitals involved. Thank you very much. Any questions?
Okay. Dr. Satyajit Dixit, you are
Yes,
giving the very good lecture, and I'm very, very happy with you and your detail how to donate and that everything is given.
Thank
And
you, sir.
my little question, I am the organ donor. I already donated all my 9 organs to the Organ India.
Great. That's
Okay.
great, sir.
Okay. And then my question is that if after my death, my family has to be ready to has to give the consent.
Yes,
Yeah. And
they have.
my only that donor card is not permissible, but my family also be ready after the mandate. Correct?
Yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So means that organ donation is awareness. If donor will be ready, but same time the family member has to be ready. So
Absolutely.
same time, and while processing your donation, every brother, every donor has to understand the family also. Correct? Then it will be successful. Otherwise, if I am having the donor card, and then after my death, it's not possible to that to take away my organ, heart, and intestine or anything. Correct? That
Yes,
means is the family also should be aware in the same system.
absolutely.
Okay?
That is what. Yes, sir. That is why whenever you sign a donor card, anyone signs a donor card,
Yeah.
the family has to be informed. Ki, I am doing this.
Yeah.
You
Correct.
just can't
And
do it.
And if that time may not be agree, but at the same time, we'll try to motivate the understand the
Yes,
family member. Okay?
absolutely. Yes, sir.
I'm also trying for that, and
Yes,
that now I'm my family member also will be ready.
Yes, sir.
I hope so, and so that all the member will be the donor, then there is no problem.
Absolutely. True, sir.
Agree with you, sir.
True, sir.
Agree with you, sir. And that any question,